Welcome to Younger Older. I'm Dave Wager, your host here in the studio at Silver Birch Ranch on the campus of the Nicolet Bible Institute. Today, I have a good friend, Tim Durkee. We grew up together kind of here at camp. How many years have you been coming to Silver Birch?
I don't know. When was the official opening?
1968.
That's when I came.
Okay, so you've been here. This is our 57th year, and somehow you've been involved for 57 years. And we're still doing the same thing. We're still trying to get young people here to enjoy Christian camping in the North Woods, teaching them about Jesus. In fact, this morning I know 3 young people that are in high school that came to know Christ as their Savior. So we're excited about that. Excited about the fact that they're still responding to the love of God through all these years on these grounds that was set up for that. And you've been a part of that as far as staff and camper, obviously, when it was many years ago. And on our board, so we appreciate that. But I didn't want to talk to him today because of his status here at camp, but because he's a medical doctor. What kind of doctor are you?
I'm an obstetrician gynecologist.
All right,
Yeah.
And you have another PhD in something?
I have a PhD in, I guess you could call it physiology, molecular endocrinology.
Okay.
We studied endocrinology of reproduction.
Okay. And you do have you done teaching in the past? Are you still teaching?
I don't do as much. I was a chairman of an OBGYN department, University of Illinois College of Medicine in Rockford.
Okay.
For a while, and I also was a clerkship director for the medical students for a while.
All right.
Since retired from that.
Okay. Now, the only reason I bring that up is because it's so refreshing for me to talk to somebody who's actually educated in the medical field, rather than talking to like Facebook about my issues or some social media platform when
Dr.
you're trying.
Google.
Yeah, Dr. Google,
Yeah.
Or whoever it might be, and mainly because it's like no matter what I want to find out, I can just think of whatever answer I want, and it's out there somehow. And instead of going to somebody who's actually educated in the area, do you doctors ever get tired of people coming in and telling you what medicines they need, or?
People do that now more than before because of the access to information. Some of the information that they get isn't bad. It's pretty good, and they're fairly knowledgeable. But I think that comes with the patient. You know, a knowledgeable patient will learn how to discern good websites or good sources of information versus somebody who wants to search for, I want this drug and I need a reason to get it. Sometimes they convince themselves they have illnesses. You know, they'll read a series of symptoms and believe, oh, this is what I have and this is what I need to do, and they show up with their diagnosis and their treatment all ready for them.
Yeah, well, that makes your job pretty easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I said, okay, what do I do?
You know what? I do admit that I might be guilty of some of that at times, because, I mean, I'll look stuff up, and I'll look at disease up, for example. Someone said, oh, this disease has these symptoms, and I go, I have those symptoms.
Yeah.
So then I'll look it up, and I go, that's what I have. I'm sure I have that. So I need to go tell my doctor next time I see him that I have this disease. So far, he hasn't bought any of those.
Well, see, I had that problem when I did my psychiatry rotation in medical school. I thought I had every medical malady, because the guy would give a list of these, and I would say, I'm like that. Maybe I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But no, there's no substitute for a smart patient. If they make themselves smart with good data, it's all good information. If they have good information, that's what we want. We want
Right.
patients to be smart about their diseases. They're able to make good decisions, and it's easy to work with them, to work on a care plan. Sometimes there's more than one way to approach something, and when they're already pretty well knowledgeable, it makes the visit a lot easier. Some people have a little challenge with medical literacy, and we have to navigate those waters with them. Sometimes the visit's a little bit slower, so we have to teach them things. Computers have been kind of a blessing and a curse in the doctor's office, because you can certainly pull things up, diagrams or videos with a patient on a screen, and you can teach them. So every patient, in some respects, is a student, and our obligation is to teach them and be sure that you ask them questions in a way they can verbalize an understanding of what you just told them, and then you move on. But first, it's making sure that doctor and patient are all seeing the same thing. more or less.
Now, in that sense, though, as you're looking at patients that come in, they have their own diagnosis, that kind of thing. Are there sites that are more reliable than others, or do you just type in, like, can I go to Google and just type in flu and go anywhere that it tells me and how to fight it or whatever? Or are there sites that you would say these tend to be more reliable?
I think WebMD is reliable. I think most universities or colleges of medicine or teaching centers that have also do their own clinical work. For instance, like Mayo, they have a very active education program, and they have a pretty robust website, and so those tend to be pretty reliable.
Okay.
I mean, we actually will direct. There are certain universities that have wellness programs, and they will publish wellness letters. And I will direct patients to those websites and have them sign up for the wellness letters that are generated from them. But I think colleges of medicine are generally very reliable.
Okay.
Universities.
Wondering about doctor training. Now, years ago, my father-in-law, as you knew him well, he was a doctor before computers. And one of the reasons he retired was because he had to think too long to try and figure out what he figured out before when he was young. and that was how he kind of explained it to me. He said, now I'm having to remember what prescription it was again that I would use for this, and it took me a little longer to figure it out than before. And it's like, and he would always, not the pink stuff though, I mean, that came right off his lips, the some type of antibiotic that came in a pink fluid that, he would just call it the pink stuff. And in his day, and everyone knew what he meant, amoxicillin or something like that. I forget what it was. But when it got slower, he felt like, boy, I need to retire so I don't make a mistake. Now, with computers, how much do doctors rely on computers now instead of their memory for things?
I don't know. I've been doing it a long time. Right now, I don't rely on them a whole heck of a lot. There's certain newer drugs that you have to sometimes look up or investigate, but otherwise, not that much. You get into the super specialties. For instance, cancer treatments constantly evolving.
Right.
Some quicker than others, but other basic standard elements of medicine, they evolve, but not as quickly. There's not quite as many protocols, but so I don't use it all that much. The medical record, the EMR, has been sometimes more intrusive in the office in some ways than helpful, because we're obligated now with a CMS, which regulates Medicare, Medicaid, and other government agencies, exact some burdensome data entering into things so that they can measure quality outcomes, which can be nebulous, as to what they're driving at, because doctors aren't totally responsible for an outcome.
Right.
So if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, whatever it is, we tell you to exercise, lose weight. It's very rare that a doctor is going to say, take a pill and this will make you better. It's usually in a context. We'll give you this blood pressure med, but you got to stop eating salt, you got to stop drinking alcohol, you got to lose weight, you have to exercise. So we get measured in the office by their recorded blood pressures.
Right.
And we're responsible for that. But I can't go to their house and say, you can't eat that, and take their plate of food away, or take them jogging with me. I can't do that. So I get the goal, and that's to be effective medically, but we have to sort of figure that out. Where's patient accountability in that? So in other words, for instance, if their blood pressure is still high but their weight is still up or gone up, that sort of lets the doctor off the hook, because it means that the patient is not doing what they need to do.
Right.
So if they're going to have a doctor metric, perhaps there needs to be a patient metric. If they're still smoking, we can't help you.
Right.
But we'll try to get you to quit smoking, but don't measure my quality as a doctor based upon me not getting them to stop smoking.
Does that frustrate you when you give instructions to somebody? They keep coming back for the same care, but they don't really listen to.
No.
No.
No, I mean that's all of us. We all have our quirkiness. We all have our thing, our manners, and sometimes it's hard to break them. And you just work with people. If you lose patience with them, or you become overtly judgmental, then you're crossing lines.
Yeah.
You have to keep patience with them. You can't. You can exercise judgment by saying, "Hey, it's not good that you're not losing weight," but you can't be judgmental and say, "I really want to take care of you because you're not losing weight." You can't do that. You can't cross that line as a doc. You really have to. You're really an overpaid servant. It's really 100% service, and you're trying to really help people.
Now, are there fad diets that actually work, or are they? What would you recommend for somebody that says, "Boy, I need to lose weight"? Is there general, like, these rules always apply, or?
Yeah, sure. There's some very simple. One is don't eat any processed food. No simple carbs.
Okay.
So bread. You'll hear patients say, "Well, it's whole grain bread." That may be very nice, but it's still bread.
Right.
Bread is a simple carb. You might as well eat, in some respects, eat a Snickers bar. Bread, noodles.
All right. I'm good. Can I quote you on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can have a Snickers bar.
Snickers instead of a bread.
Yeah, you put a piece of ham between the Snickers bars, right? So bread, noodles, or pasta, anything made out of corn, like a corn chip, or potato, like potato chip. Like today at Silver Birch, we had sweet potato fries,
Right.
which are not potatoes.
Right.
They're tubers. They're fibrous. So you avoid processed food, processed grain, because what happens is they turn to sugar in your bloodstream very, very quickly, and you'll end up storing everything that you eat. You can have it every now and then.
Right.
For instance, the only time I eat a lot of bread is when I come here.
Yep.
Because you got the bread thing.
Yep.
So the peanut butter. So otherwise, I really don't have a lot. The other is we try to avoid processed food. Food that's not an original state. Anything that is done to alter food. For instance, meats. They inject chickens and milk, cows with a lot of hormone that can find its way into food sources. So you want food in its native state as best you can, and then you mix it up. Foods with a lot of colors in them have a lot of nutrients that are valuable, and then portion size. No matter what anybody says, if you have calories, I'm using my hands because
Sure.
I know we're on.
Yeah, there you go.
If you burn this many calories and you eat this many, you will gain weight. If you burn this many calories and you eat this many, the tendency is you will lose weight. Now, there's certain medical conditions, complications where that's complicated and it doesn't work. But we're talking about the typical general person.
Yeah.
So in the United States, we tend to overindulge in simple carbs, sugars, and things like that, and sweetened drinks that we really shouldn't eat, even if it's artificial, and in processed food. And we eat food quickly. So we overeat. Because food, I know, prices are up, but relatively speaking, our access to food is very high. And so, but we overeat as a country, and we don't exercise. We've turned into a little bit more, as a generalization, a little bit more sedentary.
Right.
And that is shown by the obesity rate and different things like that. So we have to sort of get back to, those were our days. I mean, we got ice cream once a week.
Yeah.
We got pop once a week.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of that. We got candy once a week.
Yeah.
So everything was all the bad stuff was once a week. Every other part, we never went to fast food.
No.
Never.
No, even if you went to McDonald's, it was like a big treat or something,
right.
and you didn't go that much.
Oh yeah, and if those fries, and there were 4 of us in the back seat. If somebody dropped their fries in the back seat, it was like piranha going after the fry to get the extra fries if you dropped them. But yeah, so we've transitioned a little bit to more convenience eating, and it's interesting because it also is taken away from family time. I think there's a lot less families that sit and eat a family meal, which I think is critically important for families too. And it also slows you eat slower, you eat healthier when you're eating as a family. So
when you mention family, you're a doctor and you talk about physical health. the mental health of family and that kind of thing, does that affect your physical health? I mean, in any,
Yeah,
let's say my family's falling apart, and could you give as a doctor family advice and feel like you're helping somebody medically?
Yeah, we it's interesting. It's a holistic approach to medicine is really what is supposed to happen, and it's mind, body, spirit. And I do find myself there's patients that need certain, because there may be certain biochemical changes in their brain or whatever, but some people need antidepressants and things like that. Some just take them because of coping. And families are in a lot of stress. I mean, right now in the United States, if you want to have a house in a neighborhood without bullets flying all over the place, if you want a car that starts in the morning, and you want a chance to send your kids to college, the way our government is treating us with taxation and fees, and two people have to work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no getting around that. They've for a country and some politicians who want choice, they've taken the mother out of the home. And I deal with mothers, and I see, it's a little heart-wrenching that, you deliver a baby, and then you talk to the mom about what she's going to do, and she said, well, I'm going to put my kid in daycare, I got to go back to work. So, and I blame a lot on the government. Economically, they tax people to the extent, and prices are high to the extent that you've taken that family unit's choice away, that both have to work and somebody else raises their children. And so we see moms and women are under a great deal of stress right now. I think society asks an awful lot out of women, and they're remarkable. They're remarkable patients. I like taking care of them. I like women's health care, and I see some of the stresses that they're under, and I don't think they get credit for what they do, and I think taking their choice to raise their own kids away from them is probably one of the worst things we do as a culture. And I have certain political persuasions, and I blame the government for that. Yeah. Our government has grown too big, too wasteful over the years, and it takes too much money out of people and families, and has ruined them.
Yeah.
The government, after Lyndon Johnson, the government is substituted for the father in the home. And so men, I guess you don't need fathers anymore because the government will step in, but now you have the stresses of a single mom working and raising children. So I think the women in our culture are under a great amount of stress, and we ask an awful lot out of them. And I don't know that that's right. And I think when we don't, as a culture, don't think foundationally anymore, protect the family, nurture the family, and really let them grow economically, we're messing with a core element of our country that's necessary. So we see that in the office. Some do that. Some women choose to go in the workforce. That's fine. That's their choice.
All right.
I'm talking specifically the women who don't really have that choice. And when you see that, it's a little bit heart-grabbing.
Now you're talking about women's issues, and you're somebody that actually knows women's issues because of your profession. I mean, you spend a lot of time taking care of those, and being an OB-GYN, that's what you do. And so you're really understanding the whole person far better than many others because you're dealing with this on a daily basis. And I appreciate what you said. I think obviously God made the family. He made us to be a certain way. And when we stray from that, there's no possible way to be okay. Yeah. You've been sitting in, we've been talking to the kids about the difference between the body, the soul, and the spirit while they've been here this week. And just the idea that the body controls you at times is something that you don't want, obviously. You understand that God, the soul, is what goes on forever. And you really want the soul and the spirit to control the body. And so you need to be able to say, I'm not going to eat this. I mean, your body needs to come under subjection somehow. Yeah. It should not control you. You should control it. And medically, I think you would agree with that?
Yeah. It's hard because it's fun to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, really, food. Is there something?
So let me throw this at you then. My favorite old thing now is my metabolism slowed down. So now, does that actually happen?
Yeah, there's some theories that metabolism slows down as we age, and so that we have to be careful as we get a little bit older. What we do, we also physically slow down as we age. It's like a little bit of a double whammy.
My wife and I, if we go out to eat at a restaurant very rarely, but if we do, sometimes we can split an entree. I would never be able to do that. When I was younger, I would want 2 of them, and now I'm splitting one, and I'm full, and it doesn't make any sense to me because even if I look, I say I look at foods and I can gain weight, and I can gain weight real easy at this point in my life. And I thought, well, what happened? It used to be in college, back in the day, man, I could eat everything in front of me. In fact, for 4 years, the football coaches tried to put weight on me, and they couldn't. And I was eating like crazy. I was eating everything. You remember, we went to college together, and you get as much food as you wanted. So I just keep going back and getting more and more and more. I never gained a pound. Yeah. And now I just look at like ice cream, and I go, the kids all make fun. If I had a favorite food, it'd be donuts.
Really? I like ice cream.
No, I like donuts. I like ice cream. It's right up there, too. But donuts, a good donut for me, oh, man.
I could eat ice cream till it kills me.
Yeah. So now, though, my wife will kind of smile at me. I'll walk into a Quick Trip, which is a donut. It's a gas station with donuts. And I'll just look at them, put them down, and leave. It's like but again, it's the mind, the spirit, the body, the soul, the spirit. I'm telling my body, you don't run things. Yeah. You're here to support who I am, but you're not me. This body isn't something that I have to keep pleasing all the time. I can displease my body in that sense. And in general, then, I'm a healthier person because I could be easily 50, 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. Very easily. And I've chosen not to be, but then I always feel like I'm not eating. It's like I'll just pass up what everybody else is eating and thinking, oh, well. And I would love to use my metabolism as an excuse so that I'm a victim rather than. Yeah. But, when young people come to me and they want to play the victim card, I normally don't let them anyway. So it's like, don't be a victim here. You can make your own choices.
It's pretty rare. Nobody said, it's not easy. We're confronted with a lot of things that taste really good, and we do get hungry. And so it's sometimes easy to drift, and the problem is drifting every now and then turns into a habit. I mean, it's just sort of, you have to deny yourself. I usually pick one day to cheat, which is how we were brought up.
Right.
One day to cheat. So one day I'll eat pizza, or something like that. So all day, all week long, I struggle to say, hey, I don't eat that. I'll eat it on Saturday or Friday. Right. I'm not going to eat. I'll eat it on Saturday or Friday. And my mind, as I'm trying to subjugate what I want to eat, basically by saying I'll do it in a couple of days. And sometimes I fail and I eat the donut, but for the most part, I've managed to. Everybody has their own weight and physical fitness struggle. It's not. We all every morning we face that. What am I going to do? What am I going to eat? Am I going to work out? How am I going to take care of myself or my body? And the body, even though we subjugate it, the Bible does tell us to take care of it.
Right.
And it's a temple for the Holy Spirit. And so there are some health admonitions. And the Apostle Paul alludes to it because he liked sports, he liked athletes, and he talked about working out and the athlete, things like that. So there's a lot of commentary in the Bible about taking care of the God's temple. Gave it to us. It's a gift, and we need to be good stewards of it. But it's sometimes it's not easy.
Now, it's interesting to me because anytime I've really talked to a young person about it, first of all, if they really need to know, I'm classified as obese on the chart. Yeah. I'm still obese. So I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know what that chart actually represents because every doctor I've been at says you're fine, the way you are, you're not obese. And yet the chart says I am. But I do enjoy talking to young people, saying, you know, it really, if you're going to be successful in life, don't live your life as a victim. You know, go and talk to people who know what they're talking about. Go to a doctor, talk to them about, if you're struggling with a health issue, you know, your body, it can control you, and it shouldn't. For example, if you keep not sleeping like you should or whatever, and you're extremely tired, that's going to control you. You probably should do your best to sleep on a, you know, go to a doctor, talk to somebody who understands the sleep stuff, and get that cured. You know, go and do the best you can. And you could say, would I like staying up late? And believe me, I talk with college kids who don't seem to have any idea that they're supposed to go to sleep at night. And it's like, I tell them the same thing every time. And then they get older and go, you were right. You know, you got to sleep at night. You do. Yeah. Because your body, you need to take care of it. You need to eat right so you have the energy you need to and not have it zapped away from you. And so I think it's important, too, that if I am going to go to you as a doctor, and I wouldn't because you're not my kind of doctor, but if I was going to go to you as a doctor and you told me, here's what you need to do, I feel like I'm obligated to do that. Why? Because I went to you for advice. Otherwise, I need to quit coming to you and wasting your time. You know, I mean, you told me, here, try this. It's a practice. I get it. We're trying to see if we can get you healthy. So I would encourage young people that you're going to a doctor and they tell you should be doing this or doing that. You probably should listen to them and then go back out of respect for them. Don't waste their time. Don't go there and say, well, I'm just going to do what I want anyway and come here when there's an emergency. They'll take care of you when there's an emergency, but that's not what you want.
Yeah,
you know,
avoid the emergency.
Listen to them ahead of time and figure this thing out.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to make, you know, my quest for fitness was prompted by my younger daughter, Nicole, in one exchange we had many years ago, and which caused me to realize that I'm an older parent. So when she was born, I was 40. And so I started to recognize the fact that, a lot of my friends, you know, kids at 25, 15 years older than that. So I thought, well, I really need it. I want to sort of be around. Maybe she has grandkids, Meg has grandkids. I don't know. I kind of want to be around for that. So I don't want to get the grabber when I'm 65. So. Yep.
Well, Tim, if you can stay for another program, we'll do another one. I have some other topics I haven't touched yet. So you've been listening to Younger Older, and I'm Dave Wager. I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Tim Durkee. And we're just talking about general things in life, and hopefully they're applicable to your life. Most importantly, you need to have that relationship with God the way it should be, and we hope that you do. We invite you to go to our website, silverbirchranch.org, and figure out how we can help you. But for now, I say goodbye, and hopefully we'll talk to you again very soon.